Welcome back. In lesson 1, you learned the basics of holding the guitar and began developing your picking and fretting hand techniques. Hopefully, you practiced these techniques and are ready to move on. In this lesson, we'll dive into playing your first chords and introduce the concept of strumming. Now, what even are chords? Since this is not a music theory class, I will not dive into this topic too deeply, but basically a chord consists of 3 or more different notes played at the same time. In general, there are 2 different types of chords, namely minor chords and major chords. To most people, major sounds happy and minor sounds sad. Minor and major chords consist of the root note, which gives the chord its name, the third, which determines major or minor, and the fifth. First, I'm going to introduce you to open chords. Open chords are a fundamental building block of guitar playing, and they allow you to play a wide range of songs. These chords are called open because they use open strings, which means you play some strings without pressing them down with your fretting hand. Let's start with the most essential open chords. First, E major. For this chord, place your index finger on the first fret of the G string, your middle finger on the second fret of the A string, and your ring finger on the second fret of the D string. Now you can strum down over all strings. And that is E major. The second chord, and also only minor chord I am going to show you for now, is E minor. It is basically E major, but we are not going to use the index finger. So again, this is E major. And now release your index finger so the open G string can ring. And that is E minor. Next, A major. There are 2 ways of fretting this chord. The first one is as follows. Position these 3 fingers on the second fret of the D, G, and B strings. Then strum from the A string down. Even though the note E is in the A major chord, you don't want the low E string to ring. If you want, you can mute it with your thumb. The other way to fret this chord is to just use your index finger barring the D, G, and B strings on the second fret. Choose what works for you. Now let's move on to D major. Put your index finger on the second fret of the G string, your middle finger on the second fret of the high E string, and your ring finger on the third fret of the B string. Strum from the D string down. Here it is okay for the A string to ring, but again, you can mute the low E string with your thumb. Another thing you can do is fretting the low E string with your thumb on the second fret, which gives you a D over F sharp chord, or D major with a third in the bass. Alright, here comes G major. Place your index finger on the second fret of the A string, your middle finger on the third fret of the low E string, your ring finger on the third fret of the B string, and your pinky on the third fret of the high E string. Now strum down over all strings. Alternatively, you can release the ring finger and let the open B string ring. And last but not least, C major. Index finger is on the first fret of the B string, middle finger on the second fret of the D string, and ring finger on the third fret of the A string. Here again, you can mute the low E string with your thumb. Practice switching between these open chords. Really, you can do this in any order you want. Once you can switch between these chords comfortably, it's time to add some rhythm. Strumming is a crucial skill, and there are various strumming patterns you can explore. Start with a simple downstroke strumming pattern. Strum down across the strings with a steady motion. Try strumming each chord you've learned using this pattern. After mastering the downstroke, experiment with upstrokes and combine them with downstrokes to create more complex rhythms. You can create your own patterns or find strumming patterns in songs you'd like to play. The internet is a great source for this usually. As you practice, focus on maintaining a clean and even sound. Make sure all the strings are ringing out clearly and adjust your finger positioning as needed. In the next lesson, we'll explore rhythm and timing further using a metronome to improve your strumming precision. You'll also learn to play some simple songs that use the chords you've learned. Keep practicing your open chords and strumming, and enjoy making music on your electric guitar. See you in the next lesson.